Under the ghostly shimmer of dying starlight, Zephyr Quinn's heart thundered as they raced through a labyrinth of twisted metal and drifting memories. In the echo of clanging scrap and crackling circuits, a desperate yearning for freedom pulsed like wildfire. The oppressive weight of unseen tyrants loomed over every discarded relic, fueling a fierce resolve to salvage hope from cosmic refuse and ignite a rebellion born from the ashes of a shattered past. Orbiting a desolate, long-forgotten moon in the Orion sector, the scrapyard colony clung to life amid the ruins of derelict starships and scattered debris. The air carried a pungent mix of burnt circuitry and rust, a constant reminder of past glories now reduced to salvageable scraps. Makeshift dwellings, cobbled together from the carcasses of ancient vessels, flickered with neon light, breathing life into a community bound by survival and defiance. Amid this chaos moved Zephyr Quinn, a 32-year-old scavenger and ingenious engineer, whose every step echoed with the resolve of one born into hardship. Navigating narrow pathways between towering heaps of repurposed tech, Zephyr's keen eyes scanned for components that might one day become the tools of revolution. Their hands, stained with the oil of relentless work, deftly sifted through the relics of a bygone era, each fragment a symbol of resilience and potential rebirth. In whispered conversations amid the clatter of improvised machinery, the colony's murmurs of resistance grew louder. Zephyr's inner monologue was a tempest of memories, of bitter loss, hard-won triumphs, and the indomitable spark of hope. As the oppressive shadow of a far-off tyranny pressed in, every salvaged bolt and shattered screen became a vow that the trash of this forsaken moon would one day transform into the formidable engine of change. Amid the sprawling labyrinth of rusted starships and shattered satellite remains, Zephyr Quinn moved with the quiet precision of someone who knew every crevice of this forsaken cosmos. The colony was a living, breathing mosaic of relics, a place where every dent in metal and every spark from a misfiring circuit told stories of forgotten journeys and unfulfilled dreams. Each morning, as the faint glow of distant nebulae crept over the horizon, Zephyr would embark on their daily pilgrimage through this graveyard of technology, scavenging for components that could be reborn into something far greater. The corridors of derelict vessels, draped in shadows and the remnants of a once thriving era, were both a haven and a battleground. Here, Zephyr's practiced hands picked apart broken consoles, deciphered the secrets locked within rusted control panels, and coaxed life from abandoned machinery. The air was thick with the metallic tang of decay, punctuated by the soft hum of energy surging through reactivated circuits, a silent symphony that only the most attuned ear could hear. In the midst of this daily toil, flashes of memory would strike Zephyr like meteor showers across a dark sky. As they pried open the battered shell of a long-forgotten freighter, vivid recollections of their childhood emerged, a time when hope was as scarce as clean water in the barren reaches of space. Zephyr remembered huddling with their family in makeshift shelters, their laughter echoing against cold metal walls even as hunger gnawed at them. That resilience, forged in the crucible of hardship, was the fire that now propelled them forward. During brief respites between scavenging runs, Zephyr would gather with fellow colonists in a dimly lit alcove beneath the skeletal remains of a cargo ship. There, in whispered tones and cautious glances, the seeds of rebellion were nurtured. One elder, voice raspy yet resolute, recounted legends of ancient engineers who transformed despair into hope, inspiring the young scavenger to see beauty in the discarded. These gatherings were more than survival meetings. They were the crucible in which dreams of renewal were shaped, a space where every shared story wove a tapestry of resistance against the oppressive void. The tactile memory of cold metal against skin, the scent of ionized air mixed with the residue of burned circuits, and the ever-present hum of distant engines were constant reminders of Zephyr's reality. Yet within this harsh existence, there was also a profound, almost sacred rhythm. Every clink of a salvaged bolt, every whisper of energy coursing through repurposed wires, was a testament to the possibility of reinvention. It was as though the discarded fragments of a forgotten era yearned to be reborn, echoing Zephyr's own inner call to transcend a fate dictated by neglect and despair. At twilight, As the dying light of distant stars gave way to the deep velvety expanse of the cosmic night, Zephyr often found solace in solitude. Sitting atop a battered hull with a panoramic view of the debris field, they would gaze at the scattered remnants of lost dreams, each one a silent witness to battles fought and futures denied. In those moments of quiet introspection, Zephyr's mind danced with visions of a brighter tomorrow, a future where ingenuity and courage could transform even the refuse of society into a beacon of hope. The rise of a scavenger was not merely a matter of survival. It was a metamorphosis born of necessity and nurtured by an unyielding spirit. Zephyr Quinn was more than a collector of cast-offs. They were an alchemist, turning the mundane and the discarded into the seeds of revolution. Every piece of tech, every whispered memory of hardship, reinforced their conviction that from the ruins of a dying era, a new defiant future could be built. A heavy stillness fell over the colony, as dusk turned the shattered hulls into ghostly silhouettes against the dying light. A battered communicator crackled to life in a crowded makeshift square, its tinny voice delivering a message that sent shivers through every rusted panel and scarred surface. The broadcast declared that the central government was mobilizing, an all-out crackdown aimed at seizing the salvaged tech that had become the colony's lifeblood. In the murmuring crowd, Zephyr paused mid-task, hands trembling over a salvaged circuit board. The announcement was more than words. It was a harbinger of doom, a promise that the fragile sanctuary of scavenged dreams would be torn asunder by the relentless grip of authority. Every ear strained to catch the cold, clipped tones of the official message, and every heart sank under the weight of inevitable conflict. Far from the colony, the specter of oppression took form in the image of Commodore Orion Drax. Once hailed as a hero in the annals of a bygone era, Drax had transformed into the very embodiment of tyranny. His face, captured in official portraits, was etched with stern determination and a ruthless glint in his eyes, a reminder that order was maintained only through iron will and uncompromising strength. Propaganda posters, tattered and reassembled in the shadowed alcoves of the colony, depicted him as both savior and oppressor, a duality that fueled whispered debates among the desperate and defiant. In a dimly lit shelter, nestled beneath the skeletal remains of an ancient freighter, Zephyr listened as an elder recounted the storied past of Drax. He was once a beacon of hope. The old voice rasped, but ambition twisted him, and now his rule is a specter that haunts every discarded relic. The words stung like shards of metal, and in that moment, the colony's quiet resilience began to quake under the threat of an impending storm. As the government's mandate spread like wildfire through every corridor and crevice, the colony was transformed into a crucible of tension. Conversations that once carried dreams of renewal now bristled with the sharp edge of fear and anger. Zephyr moved through the labyrinth of cobbled-together shelters, catching snippets of hushed voices, debates over the wisdom of cautious compliance versus bold resistance, the thrill of defiance pitted against the paralyzing weight of authoritarian might. In the heart of this turmoil, Zephyr's mind raced. Each step through the debris-strewn streets felt like walking on a tightrope stretched between hope and despair. The air was thick with the scent of burning fuel and the metallic tang of blood, remnants of skirmishes fought in the hidden corners of the colony. Shadows danced ominously along the walls as if foretelling the coming battle, each flicker a silent testament to the lives caught in the crossfire of power and rebellion. The communicator's message continued, its relentless repetition hammering the message into every heart. Resistance was futile, surrender inevitable. Yet even as dread crept into the marrow of every citizen, a stubborn ember of defiance ignited within Zephyr. In the solitude of their private thoughts, amidst the cacophony of fear, a steely determination coalesced. Zephyr recalled every hardship, every stolen moment of survival, and realized that this moment, this dark omen, was the crucible in which the future would be forged. Outside, under the cold gaze of distant stars, the colony braced itself. Every clank of metal, every gust of wind through broken apertures, carried the promise of conflict. The looming figure of Commodore Orion Drax, both real and symbolic, was a constant reminder of the harsh reality that in order to protect their fragile existence, every colonist would have to choose a side. And for Zephyr, that choice was already made, a commitment to defy the oppressive force with every ounce of ingenuity and resolve at their disposal. In that charged atmosphere, the stage was set. The dark omen of government might had not only revealed the enemy, but also kindled the revolutionary spark that would drive Zephyr and their compatriots to transform despair into defiant action. The colony's future now hinged on a singular, desperate choice: succumb to the crushing power of order, or rise with the fire of rebellion to reclaim their destiny from the grasp of tyranny. In the heart of the scrapyard, where every corroded bolt and shattered panel whispered secrets of past glories, Zephyr's eyes burned with a revolutionary fire. Amid the echoing clangs and sputtering circuits, an audacious idea took shape: a plan to transform the colony's discarded relics into a formidable vessel, a warship born of defiance and ingenuity. Under a sky streaked with the ghostly hues of distant nebulae, Zephyr gathered the colony's most skilled artisans and fighters around a makeshift assembly area carved out of an ancient cargo bay. The air thrummed with anticipation and the scent of burning metal. With a steady voice that belied the urgency of the moment, Zephyr declared, "These forgotten scraps aren't just debris, they're the building blocks of our freedom. Today we forge not just a ship but our future." Hands calloused from years of scavenging reached eagerly for rusty panels, fractured circuitry and engine cores long abandoned. In a flurry of collaborative energy, the group set to work. Sparks flew as improvised welders kissed molten metal, and the rhythmic pounding of hammers against steel created a defiant symphony. Each clang and hiss of flame was a testament to their resolve, a promise that even the most neglected fragments could be reborn as the engine of revolution. Conversations interwove with the mechanical chorus. "Look at this," one colonist exclaimed, holding up a shattered control panel. "It's the heart of our old world, and soon it will be the mind of our new one." Another added with quiet determination, "Every piece we salvage is a strike against the tyranny that seeks to silence us." In these fervent exchanges, unity blossomed. Every participant, from the seasoned engineer to the novice scavenger, felt the pulse of a shared destiny. As the structure of the nascent warship, aptly christened the Warship of Whispers, took shape, its hull began to echo with the stories of struggle and hope. The metallic body, patched together with ingenuity and fierce passion, gleamed under the low industrial light. Here, amidst the swirling dust and fragmented memories of bygone eras, a tangible symbol of rebellion was born. In that charged moment, as the final piece was fitted into place and the vessel's contours emerged from the chaos of scrap, Zephyr paused to survey their creation. The warship was not merely a collection of repurposed metal. It was the embodiment of every whispered dream and every defiant heartbeat of the colony. It stood as a bold declaration that from the remnants of a forgotten past, a new future could be forged, a future built on resilience, unity and the unyielding will to reclaim freedom. The Warship of Whispers surged from the colony's protective shadow into the cosmic expanse, a defiant bullet streaking against the black canvas of space. Zephyr's grip on the helm was steady, though their heart pounded like the rapid beat of a drum. Outside, the void shimmered with the glow of distant nebulae and the silent, eerie dance of cosmic dust. Suddenly, the silence shattered as enemy formations emerged. A cold, disciplined armada commanded by Commodore Orion Drax's forces, their sleek, menacing vessels gliding like predatory sharks through a starlit ocean. Engines roared and energy shields flared to life as the first volley of laser fire illuminated the darkness in jagged bursts. The Warship of Whispers trembled under the initial impact, each collision of light and metal sending ripples through its patchwork hull. Zephyr's eyes scanned the starfield, every sensor reading and spark of warning intensifying the urgency. "Steady, now," Zephyr muttered, voice low and resolute over the comm system, the words lost amidst the cacophony of blaster fire and the frantic beeping of damaged systems. Every bolt of repurposed tech and every hand-forged panel was now a lifeline in this turbulent ballad of survival. Amid the chaos, a holographic transmission crackled to life, and the cold, measured visage of Commodore Drax appeared. His voice, smooth yet edged with cruelty, echoed through the void. "Your rebellion ends here, Zephyr. You think these scraps can defy order?" The words sliced through the din, sparking an immediate response from Zephyr. "Order is built on submission," they shot back, eyes ablaze with unyielding defiance. "But innovation and the human spirit thrives in chaos." The exchange of words, brief but potent, resonated as both a challenge and a promise, setting the ideological battlefield as sharply as the laser beams crisscrossed the starry expanse. The warship twisted and turned through a chaotic dance of explosions and shimmering plasma trails. Zephyr's deft maneuvers sent ripples of light through the dark void, each evasive swerve narrowly dodging the relentless barrage. The crew, a mix of hardened veterans and impassioned idealists, worked in seamless unison, every shouted command, every deft repair, a testament to their collective determination. Sparks flew from compromised panels as the ship's improvised systems fought to hold integrity against the high-precision onslaught. In moments of calm between the rapid bursts of enemy fire, Zephyr's mind raced with strategies, every decision a matter of life or a step closer to revolution. As the skirmish raged on, fragments of shattered enemy craft drifted past like ghostly reminders of resistance defied. The void, once a silent spectator, now bore witness to the first battle of a war where ideology and will clashed as fiercely as steel against steel. In that sprawling, unforgiving darkness, the warship of Whispers became a beacon of hope, a defiant outcry against an oppressive order, and a promise that even in the deepest void, the spark of rebellion could ignite an inferno of change. The cosmic stage shifted into a maelstrom of fury as the warship of Whispers plunged deeper into enemy territory. The battle had evolved beyond the physical. A tempest of ideologies clashed in the void. Inside the ship's command deck, every control panel flickered erratically as warning lights danced in chaotic patterns. Zephyr's fingers, slick with sweat and determination, moved rapidly over interfaces patched together from salvage tech. Outside, laser fire streaked through the darkness, each burst a harbinger of destruction and conviction. The ship shuddered violently as an explosion rocked its port side. Alarms blared, and the sound of twisting metal resonated like a death knell. Yet, amid the pandemonium, Zephyr's resolve remained unyielding. They recalled every sleepless night spent scavenging for hope in broken relics, and every whispered promise made in the shadowed alcoves of the colony. The crew, a patchwork family forged in adversity, braced themselves for the next volley, a barrage that was as much about principles as it was about survival. Over the comm system, a familiar cold voice sliced through the cacophony. "You dare defy order with scraps and dreams, Zephyr." The voice belonged to Commodore Orion Drax, his tone a mix of disdain and fanaticism. The holographic image of Drax materialized on the main console, his steely eyes locked onto Zephyr's determined gaze. The contrast between the light of rebellion and the dark specter of authority could be felt even through the fractured signal. Zephyr's response was as swift as it was resolute. "Order built on submission is no order at all," they declared, voice echoing through the turbulent space. "Our strength lies in what you cast aside. Each discarded fragment is a story, a lesson in resilience. Today we prove that innovation thrives in the chaos you so desperately try to control." The conversation, terse and charged, rippled through the crew. It was not just a battle of firepower but a collision of souls, of those who believed in the cold tyranny of control, and those who found beauty and hope in the broken and the forgotten. As Drax's forces tightened their formation, a barrage of missiles hammered the hull, each impact sending shudders through the warship of Whispers. Sparks erupted like fleeting stars from every wounded panel, yet the ship's heartbeat, the collective spirit of its makeshift crew, refused to falter. Inside the command deck, a young technician named Lyra worked feverishly to reroute power to the shield generators. Her hands trembled as she reconfigured circuits with a deftness born of desperation and hope. "We can hold them off," she murmured under her breath, the words a mantra against the looming despair. Nearby, a grizzled veteran, Marek, steadied a young recruit whose eyes brimmed with terror. "This isn't just a fight for survival," he said, his voice gruff but inspiring. "It's a battle for the very soul of what it means to be free." Outside, the starfield became a canvas of explosions and shifting light. Zephyr steered the warship with a blend of calculated precision and instinctive bravery. Each maneuver was a counterstroke in a grand tapestry of rebellion, a defiant dance against an enemy that sought to erase individuality and spirit. The ship's battered hull groaned under the strain, yet every repaired circuit and bolted panel bore testimony to the hands that had built it. The Warship of Whispers was more than a vessel. It was a living manifesto of resistance. The exchange with Drax continued, their voices intertwined with the sounds of battle. "Your rebellion is nothing more than chaos." Drax spat through the comm, his image flickering with static as the ship's vibrations grew stronger. "Chaos breeds only destruction." Zephyr's retort came with unwavering calm amid the storm. "Chaos is the birthplace of creation," they replied, eyes locked on the swirling void beyond the viewport. "In every shattered piece, there lies potential. Every scar on our ship is a reminder that from ruin a new order can emerge, a vision that you would never understand." The battle raged on, each moment a crucible testing the mettle of both machine and soul. The clash was not just external. Deep within, Zephyr felt the weight of every life lost to oppression, every hope sacrificed at the altar of authoritarian control. Their internal battle of faith against despair mirrored the physical struggle unfolding in the blackness of space. As the enemy's formation began to waver under the relentless ingenuity of the warship's counterattacks, a sense of profound unity surged through the crew. In that charged moment, every whispered memory, every shared sacrifice coalesced into a singular defiant cry. The battle was a turning point, a declaration that the power of belief, forged in the crucible of hardship, could challenge even the most formidable forces of tyranny. The collision of beliefs echoed through every corridor of the warship. The clash of ideals, like the clashing of titans, reverberated far beyond the confines of metal and circuitry. In that dark expanse, the Warship of Whispers was not merely evading destruction. It was etching a new narrative across the cosmos, one where the discarded and the determined reclaimed their right to shape the future. In the quiet aftermath of the celestial tempest, the cosmos seemed to exhale a long-held breath. The Warship of Whispers, scarred and resilient, limped back toward the colony, a battered monument to defiance. Amid the rubble of shattered dreams and the soft glow of distant stars, survivors emerged from their makeshift shelters, their faces illuminated by both relief and sorrow. Zephyr stood on the edge of a rebuilt platform, eyes fixed on the slowly brightening horizon, as the first hints of dawn painted the void in hopeful hues. The silence that followed the battle was not empty. It was laden with the memories of every explosion, every sacrifice etched into the cold metal of the warship. The colony, once a cacophony of clanging metal and urgent shouts, now pulsed with the tender murmur of recovery. In the smoldering remains of what had been an all-out clash, the people began to rebuild, gathering debris like seeds that could sprout into something new. Every salvage component whispered of lost lives and hard-won victories, yet also carried the promise of renewal. Inside the warship's battered corridors, the crew moved with a measured grace born of shared hardship. They tended to wounds both visible and hidden, each act of repair a quiet declaration that they would rise again. Lyra, whose nimble fingers had once raced against time to restore failing circuits, now reconnected comm lines to reach out to distant allies. Marek and the young recruit sat side by side, their weary eyes meeting in silent understanding. Their bond, forged in the fire of rebellion, would be the foundation for tomorrow. For Zephyr, the return was both a reprieve and a reckoning. As they walked the familiar, dust-laden pathways back to the colony's heart, memories of the fierce battle intermingled with visions of a brighter future. The scars of the war were visible on every rusted beam and patched-together shelter, yet each imperfection stood as a testament to the unyielding spirit of those who dared to resist. In hushed conversations that carried across the clearing, ideas of restructuring and renewal began to take root, a future where the discarded could be transformed into the very instruments of liberation. Under a sky now streaked with the gentle blush of sunrise, the community gathered in a central square that had witnessed both despair and defiance. Together they listened as Zephyr spoke with a calm intensity that belied the weight of their shared journey. Our struggle has not ended, but today we rebuild. From every splintered shard and every fallen echo, we will craft a new tomorrow, a dawn where our voices shape the cosmos. The words, carried by the cool morning breeze, resonated deeply among the colonists, stirring an unwavering belief that even in the ashes of conflict hope could be reborn. As the light of day fully broke over the horizon, casting long golden rays across the remnants of a shattered past, the colony embraced its destiny. The Warship of Whispers, though battered, remained a steadfast symbol of what could be achieved when courage met ingenuity. In that radiant moment, amid the gentle hum of renewal and the quiet promise of a new beginning, the scars of yesterday began to heal, and the promise of a transformed future shone brighter than ever.